Hi, I'm Henni Cohen. I'm president of the Napa Valley chapter of the California Native Plant Society. And I'm here in the Martha Walker California Native Habitat Garden. It's located in Skyline Park at the east end of Imola Avenue. And when we reopen the garden, and it's closed right now because of the virus requirements, it is a great place to look at native plants to see how they can look in your garden. The garden was established about 35 years ago by a group of native plant enthusiasts, and it is maintained by the local chapter. The garden is organized by plant communities so that plants that belong together are planted together. And one great example is right here where I'm standing in the perennial garden. These are plants, they're workhorses in the garden, and they are drought tolerant. They attract wonderful beneficial insects and bees and butterflies, and later in the fall, they will provide seeds for the birds. So, let me introduce you to some of these plants. I am standing right behind a wonderful plant called Penstemon Margarita Box. And as you can see, the flowers are just fabulous. They are shaped like trumpets. The hummingbirds can get their long beaks into them, and the bees can crawl into them. The tiny bees can crawl into them. Lots of insects. It's a wonderful plant. It likes full sun, part shade, water once in a while, and you'll have this fabulous plant in your garden. A second plant that is a wonderful workhorse is this white plant back behind me. This is called Yarrow, or Achillea is its Latin name. And I call this plant the butterfly landing pad plant because, as you can see, the flowers form little pads. They're tiny little flowers in a cluster that make up this pad, and the butterfly will land on it and then just have a field day working all the little flowers in it. This will spread. It's a fabulous plant that will bloom and bloom and bloom. You can cut off the spent blooms, or you can leave them because of the seeds for the birds. And it's a great, wonderful plant. And it loves full sun. I'm standing right next to a wonderful tree, large shrub plant called the Western Redbud. And this plant it's called a four-season plant. In the early spring, it will come alive with small, very deep pink blossoms all over the tree. And it looks like a cloud of pink just in your garden. Then the leaves come out, and you have these wonderful heart-shaped leaves, which are, I just think they're beautiful. And the color is sort of a gray-green, so it's not a real intense green. It's a cool color. And then the flowers turn into seed pods, which we have right here. And this gives a chance for the birds to get at what the tree has to offer. In the fall, this tree will turn wonderful shades of orange and yellow and red. So you have your fourth season. And then in the winter, it goes deciduous. So you have a very graceful form sitting in your garden, and you can enjoy this plant, the Western Redbud, all year long. This is a plant that, as you can see, is not blooming right now. However, it is a wonderful habitat plant. It's called California Fuchsia. The botanical name is Epilobium. And it will bloom in late August and bloom all the way through October and maybe into December, depending on the weather. The bloom is a trumpet-shaped bloom. Its color is anywhere from a deep salmon color to a tomato red, fiery color. It is an important pollinator plant because it blooms at a time when most of these other plants that are around me, the Penstemon, the Yarrow, have stopped blooming. And we need to make sure that we provide sources of food for the insects in the fall as well as in the summer. They get a little overstuffed during the spring and summer, so let's give them something for the fall. And so there are several different varieties of Epilobium. Some of them are greener. This one is a grayer one. Some of them grow taller. They can get, this one will get about this tall with their various flowers on it. Some of them stay quite low. So it's a wonderful habitat plant, and besides that, it will spread over an area so that you can fill in a blank spot and help the birds and the bees, and it's a great plant. I love it. I'm sitting right behind a field of California native poppies that are being visited by bumblebees to remind you that native plants feed our native beneficial insects and our birds. And I'm surrounded by the native plants here in the garden, and I encourage you to find native plants to add to your garden.